in a way that is intuitive. You shouldn't have to be a data scientist to be able to do any of this.
Right. You should be a 15-year-old kid who's played with Chat GPT and can
Mhm.
operate the dealership now.
And so in the timeline, in the historical timeline of automotive, we mapped 2022 GPT, right, became kind of commonplace. I started using it. I do know it was either December 2022 or January 2023. I made an effort because I'd heard of it. I'm like, I don't know what it is. And it's interesting how it doesn't take you long to find out. Wow, this is pretty cool. You just
Mhm.
type something in and it starts spitting out info, and you're like, wow, really? And
Yeah.
it's relevant. And then you read it, and you're like, no way, right? So okay, so now we have automotive. What do we call? Is you said LLM? What are we calling this?
So for in automotive in general,
In
or
automotive AI
yeah.
systems.
So we're looking at it as it's a system of intelligence. So it goes past. I think dealers have had CRMs, DMSs. We've seen this little influx of what we call CDPs, customer data platforms. I
Yep.
believe I just wrote an article about this. I think they are more marketing companies than data companies. They just needed the data to serve their marketing business because that's how they make money. But I think we're kind of, I think that was very linear in thinking. I think we're just kind of leapfrog past that to a system of intelligence using the power of AI to understand your data. Because most of the CDPs I see, they're still doing the same filtering of reports, generating lists that way. They're not using the true unlocking power of autonomous agents and like ChatGPT and bots and LLMs to kind of really bring the data to life and
Mhm.
be able to cross the data across multiple layers, meaning website data, CRM data, DMS data, inventory data, maybe external data. All those things are put together into one cloud, but are all accessed in real time.
So all right, so that's interesting. You said that. Okay, so then as we look at this, are we? Do you think there are many of these right now? Right.
I haven't
Well,
seen
one.
it.
So
Ours.
Well,
I
other
don't
other
think
than
there's
others.
another one.
so here's the thing. It just so happens in logistics. Again, that's kind of my backyard, but I'm looking at the front yard. Uh, there is a company that says they have an AI in logistics. Other companies are wondering if they really do. I don't know how to weigh in or not, but we are in the early days of kind of companies having these types of systems.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely early. It's an evolving space, but the early is going to get mature really fast. Just look at
Mhm.
the power of ChatGPT over the last 12 months. The processing is enormously different, more effective. Last year, everyone was complaining about hallucinations. Anyone
Mhm.
complaining about hallucinations now? No.
Not many.
Nope. So I think people don't understand this exponential technology and the impact it's going to have versus what we've seen was more what I call just what would you say, Maarten? Like just kind of growth in a more controlled pattern.
Mhm.
It was more incremental than exponential. And I think because of AI that can, I mean, Maarten and I sat today. Maarten was the AI was writing code. And though
Mhm.
it's not perfect, it's cut hours of time of development in
Easily.
just a quick afternoon conversation. So we think dealers need to start thinking about this. And Jay, we see it not just from a dealer perspective in the sense of marketing. We see bringing all their data, their operational data, all their conversational data into it and learn to get more efficient as an
Mhm.
organization. Because once AI starts to understand all the conversations, it's very good at figuring out what you're trying to do and predict what you want to accomplish. And once you start feeding it this type of information, it's going to very quickly be ahead of the curve for you And that's why I said we're going to get very fast to a point where there are certain dealers who are just going to dominate because they built their AI. And I look outside our industry for this. I looked at Klarna. Klarna is this like little widget you put on websites where you don't have to pay for it at once. Klarna 2 years ago tasked a team inside to start using AI to remove functions of staff. So fast forward 2 years, they're eliminating half their staff, which is 2,500 or 3,000 people. They're getting rid of their CRM. They're ending their contract with Salesforce. They're also ending their contract with Workday, which handled all project management. It is all now being run on AI. That's a canary in the coal mine, the realization that dealers will be able to leverage AI to really start to think and operate parts of their business. Not just, we'll start with the marketing because it's sexy, but the real reality is there is a much larger opportunity to capitalize on operational expense reduction and efficiency.
Yep. Imagine every salesperson having it where they knew exactly who to call and when to call them and how they prefer to be talked to, and know exactly which vehicles that person is going to most likely positively respond to. Suddenly, you've taken 100 cold calls down to 10 very, very productive calls, and they're going to, instead of selling 10 cars like they've done every year for the past 40 years per month, they're going to start selling 20 or 30 cars per month by using tools like this.
And then add on to that the system watching and saying, wow, every time Jay gets an F-150 lead, he flubs it. Maarten, though, crushes F-150 leads. So the system now can start saying, oh, give Maarten the F-150s because he's 7 times more effective at closing the F-150 buyer. Maybe has an affinity, love for the product, whatever it is. So AI is going to be able to bring all these things to life in real time. And that to me it's incredibly exciting.
I partly feel like I got lucky seeing you on LinkedIn, connecting with you. I'm highly interested in this stuff, and so I'm going to go. It wasn't luck, it was, serendipity or something. Now, I'm not drawing anything, any strange conclusions here, but I am going to say that, like, I've seen other folks talk, like, there's just one guy I talked to, and he was talking about, I don't know, security and dealers, and I just, within minutes, and thought, I don't think you really have anything. I just was like, ugh. But this is, I think what I'm trying to say is, I'm going to try to keep track of you, and if you see something I can do to help, I want you to ask me to do that.
Oh, we appreciate that so much. We're just thankful to be here tonight. We just love the opportunity to talk about this stuff, educate dealers. We want to excite dealers about this. I think, a lot of times people are afraid about this. It's going to take jobs away. It's going to do things. But, for us, we think through education, it'll inspire a whole industry to kind of stand up, get behind this type of tech, leverage it for their own business, and transform their organization to make happier employees, more profitability, more consistency, and just ultimately deliver better outcomes, as well as for the consumers. It's something, a lot of times we talk about customer experience in the industry, but just like I look at identity as an insurance policy for many dealers, they'll only put the customer's experience at the past their profitability. And I think there's an interesting collision point where AI can solve both simultaneously. And I think it's what is perfectly figured out to do. And I think we're just, passionate. Both Maarten and I love this stuff. And I think Maarten and I trade, honestly, Jay, more comments every day. Did you see this? Did you see this latest autonomous agent? What about this? Could we use something like this? And then Maarten will build something and show it to me, and I'm like, that's amazing, and let's show it to other people. Because, again, when you're super passionate about something, it's not work. It's our gift and our desire to bring this to the industry and have fun doing it and help people.
Are you connected to AI Marketing Institute at all? Do you know about that? I
No.
recommend check it out. It'll
Okay.
be one of the resources. I'm sure you have tons of resources, but it's kind of my go-to AI resource now. AI
Okay.
Marketing Institute. I now check out their webinars. Very good. And I don't say that all the time. And I'll add this. There is a lot of fear coming our way. But we don't have a choice. We've been thrown into a busy highway and the cars are coming. So we have to make, bold choices. And I actually, as a content guy, one of the choices I've made, I gave a little speech tonight, and I'll be doing that every week, is that I have a feeling that the AI is also going to weed out a lot of the pointless content that's kind of become part of this current era. There's going to be no need for pointless content.
Yeah. Listen, how many misdirected emails and direct mail campaigns fall on deaf ears in automotive? How many times have you gotten an email or direct mail for a car you don't even own anymore? How many times have you gotten that same old email, hey, we need your trade-in? All those things should stop because they're actually hurting the dealership because you're training your customers to ignore your brand.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
So I think it's
Mic drop.
right. You want to use AI to learn about your customers, take exterior data, analyze, and go, oh, I know this is your interest. All what you do on the internet tells me you're interested in outdoors, sports, hiking. You like sport utility vehicles. You have a family. You have a ski cabin. Like all that data, AI can inform and then personalize so you feel it's a one-to-one conversation. I like Minority Report. It was a fun movie, right? When he's walking
Oh
by the
my
billboard and
God.
says, "Hey, looked like he gained 5 pounds
I
and
was
he needs
honestly
some new
thinking of
jeans."
that earlier. Yes, I was.
But that's the amazing part of this. Like we're at this inflection point where that system of intelligence is going to deliver true personalization at scale. And to me, that's again, I go all the way back to 1994. Rogers and Peppers wrote a book called The One-to-One Future or One-to-One Marketing. It's an old book. I remember reading that, and the whole concept was delivering personalization, but they couldn't do it back then. They tried, super expensive, giant companies maybe jostled with it some. We are doing right now. We're at that point where a kid in a garage, one person, is going to build $100 million company that delivers complete personalization at scale because of AI. And to me, it's mind-boggling to think that 30 years ago that was a dream, and now it's going to be possible. It's going to be possible. And I think Sam Altman even said like within a period of probably 2 to 3 years, we're going to see a one-person company be able to do $1 billion in revenue.
Absolutely.
And to think about that, that's
mind-boggling.
That is mind-boggling to understand because you build these autonomous agents, they all independently are doing things, but they're like an orchestra. So they're all working for you 24/7. Nobody gets sick. Nobody complains about work unless maybe the future AI says, hey, you're pushing us a little hard. We want more energy or something like that. But, it's super interesting that we're just entering at the beginning of that. And I think we're going to fast see such an acceleration. And our only limitation to me, and Maarten, tell me I'm crazy, but is power.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why Microsoft is trying to restart up 3 Mile Island here on the East Coast to use it to power their AI. Because we're going to have nuclear power to be able to do this. So.
Yep. But even with that in mind,
Whoa.
AI has decreased in price per watt faster than any industry in modern history.
Yep.
The price for 10,000 tokens of work 3 years ago was an order of magnitude more than it is today. And next year, it's going to go down to probably another quarter of what it is today. And the year after that, probably a quarter of it again. It is astonishing to watch for the first time in history that intelligence is getting cheaper per hour to have available to you.
And so think about that for a dealer who's spending an average of $20,000 to $30,000, $40,000 on SaaS spend to be eroded to only a couple $1,000s because AI is running it all.
You know,
But
you're
that's the future. We're heading there. So
no, when you're I feel like I'm talking to somebody who 150 years ago knew that we'd value water.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like what you just said I haven't heard before.
Yeah, so I mean,
About
the real
power.
reality is dealers spend X on tech. Every company does, right? We have X tech spend in SaaS tools applications. But because of AI, we'll start eroding them at a pretty significant rate. And then there's a point you can do the same thing with AI at a fraction of the cost. AI continues to be cheaper, so your costs will naturally erode to produce these same outputs.
But there is always a resource cost. In this case, it's power.
Power.
Wow.
Well, this is why, they wanted to look at whatever the, hydropower. You're seeing
They have a whole bunch
you're
of those
seeing,
in San Francisco Bay now.
Yep, you're seeing a whole new spur because we realize that power is the most like critical resource for technology, and as we scale, it's going to become even more important. So,
And now we're going to quote the Matrix.
Well, I've seen
Right.
them working on.
I think that's Facebook's goal right now is with Meta.
Yeah. What was the what were they saying that now, we used water to heat the nuclear power rods, and that's kind of dangerous. So now they've been able to figure out, and they're still working on using liquid what is it? So one of the liquid metals that'll make nuclear power like phenomenally more safe. I can't remember what it was. Is it liquid?
Really?
Yeah. So I just, again, it's going to be power, and they're going to, I see nuclear making a comeback to make AI do what we want it to do, because it just is so power consumptive. And this is why, like Sam Altman said, it's going to cost $1 trillion to like get OpenAI to the point where they want it to be.
Does running high impact AI like push servers to their capacity and heat? And I mean, does it? It does.
It definitely generates a lot of heat. They are for high-end AI, those are the hottest and largest computer chips anybody makes.
Hence Nvidia.
Hence Nvidia being
Nvidia.
Is crushing it.
Is that
Nvidia's
right?
next generation AI processors cost over $60,000 per AI processor. And they are sold out by all the big companies. Yep.
Wow.
They are sold out for the foreseeable future on that front.
Do they have a chip shortage problem?
I don't know if they would call it a problem.
It's kind of
I don't think they're going to call it a problem.
It's good.
I think it's been very successful for them.
But it's Nvidia.
Yep.
That's the brand. Wow.
But that's like, that these are those levers that will keep AI in check for the foreseeable future. Power, chip production. These are the things that are, we're almost hitting a point that we're the limitation of getting this tech to the next stage. But,
which
bring
is
it all
probably
the way
a good
back.
thing, to be honest.
Yeah, it is a good thing.
Is that what Sam Altman says? We're lucky to have this limitation.
I doubt that Sam Altman would say that.
Yeah, I think he.
I don't know much about him. Should I check him out? Who are some of the? Is he? Yeah. Who do you guys listen to?
Oh man, for podcast wise, I swear I think I spend most of the time listening to marketing. I like Lenny's podcast, which is still like a product manager guy. Trying to think any of the other ones I've been on. Like I like some of the guys from OpenAI. There's multiple ones like podcasts those guys will do, talking about tech. I think some of the most cutting edge stuff is still at some of these like bigger AI conferences, like where they'll premiere interesting pieces.
Do you go to AI conferences?
Not yet. I'll
Not
just
yet.
watch them on YouTube in the end. So,
Okay.
as a
Where
startup,
are they?
at a startup, man, we try to keep our expenses down right now. So,
Okay. Where are the AI conferences? Where would you
San
go?
Francisco,
San Francisco.
Europe, Yeah, so
Around Boston area has some good ones too.
Boston has some good ones. You got a lot of stuff around MIT.
A lot of good ones around MIT, a lot of ones around the LHC area over in Europe too. Um, I tend to, lately, I've been focused more on some of these startups over in Europe who are trying to leap ahead on the AI front by making neural chips where they're using human brain organoids to do AI workloads.
Wait, what did you say?
Yeah,
Yep.
this is crazy. Maarten sent it to me, and
Did
even
you
I
say
was like,
humanoid?
well, yes,
No,
there's
the human brain organoids. So they, in little petri dishes, they grow um, parts of a human brain and then they hook it up to a computer chip.
And it works or
And it
whatever.
works. Yep.
In what way is it? So it's brain part.
It's part brain, part computer, and they're calling it a neural processor.
yeah.
It is very low power, low energy, and it has performance so far that is getting close to what we have from purely digital means. But from that computer chip I mentioned before that Nvidia announced recently, this uses 1/1 millionth the power.
Oh God, it is the Matrix.
For the organoids, yeah, absolutely.
Todd is like,
Gets really creepy.
It gets
Later,
listen.
guys.
He showed it. Maarten showed us the picture of the squishy little thing to.
Oh no, that was
Matt and
using
I.
that was biomimetic skin over robots.
Okay, that was that piece.
No, this one the neural computer chips don't look nearly.
hey, speaking of, are we seeing next gen robots at shows too? I saw something.
Mhm.
I don't pay attention to robots much, but when I do, now it looked like, well, we've got some pretty realistic robots like headed to a mall near you or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're releasing the first home assistant humanoid robot beginning of next year, with the cheaper model supposed to be similar to a mid-range car.
It's like pre-Blade Runner.
Pre-Blade Runner.
Right? Where it's coming. I mean, listen, robots are already in Amazon warehouses. Robots are in trucks pulling all the packages out.
Yeah, but those robots don't look like us, right? Those are just worker bots, right?
Yes. But yeah, the humanoid one, you have Boston Dynamics. They've done a lot around that space. I mean, they just haven't skinned them yet. They're functioning like, they're starting to look more like a person from when they started, at least.
It's the Terminator cop robot. That stuff freaks me out. Where he's
the
jumping
liquid
around
guy.
and everything.
Yeah.
That one's whack.
Yeah, my son liked Terminator 2 more than Terminator 1. He said special effects were way better. I tend to agree.
So. Yeah.
Luckily, I don't think evil Terminator 2 is...
Yeah.
We're going to be in Terminator 1 for a little bit, son.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, hopefully we don't move right into Metalloid Demon Guy.
Let's hope not.
But yeah, the Unitree G1 got announced, and they're starting shipping early next year for humanoid home assistant robots.
Which, as you think about it, yeah, there's going to be great applications there.
Yeah. Elderly, people with mobility issues.
Right.
There's tons of useful applications for them in the home.
Yeah, so no more getting Fido. Now you get a humanoid.
I was just going to say exactly. Well, but some people are going to, for a while, people are going to prefer the animal. But there will become, and I think this is ultimately, as generations become generations, you almost need that, because you can't keep somebody who remembers 150 years ago. They're going to hang on to the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So futuristic progress requires change of humanoid.
Yeah, look, in the end, we just hate change, right? Our brains hate change, I think we love the concept of change, but not for us. Like,
we want the benefits without the work to go.
Yeah, we just don't want the work. We don't want to change anything we're doing, but we want the benefits of the outcome of it. And I think that there's a fine line in defining that inside like car dealerships or any business. How you can start to leverage these tools to build a more efficient operation. So, from the business owner down to management, down to operators, all the impact is going to be profound. So, I mean, even we've done, we record phone calls and transcribe them and can summarize that data. Like you think about just that capability alone, where you could just have something, it's been this type of tech has been around for a while, where it could pop out and go, hey, this was a bad call, you should listen to this one. Versus, nobody wants to listen to, if you're a car manager, nobody wants to listen to phone call after phone call. I used to do that when I ran my Chevy store. It was always a nightmare, frustrated me, made me mad because I saw a million opportunities that a salesperson flubbed up, right? So it highlights that. So I think we're going to see a world where, obviously what happens if it's real-time coaching them. AI is actually listening to the call in real time and saying, hey, tell this customer this based on what they're saying. So almost like whisper in the
wingman.
ear. Yeah.
Going with the Copilot again.
Whoa.
That's going
with
this,
the Copilot.
this is where we're heading fast, because it's just speed of the tech to be able to process the conversation in real time and be able to understand it and then give back a Copilot type response. So to me, it's like whisper mode into you. So think about, as Maarten said in the beginning, it's like, I don't think the goal today is to eliminate salespeople. The goal is to make a 10-person salesperson a 20-person salesperson, or at least a 15-person salesperson. Right? Because that's operational efficiency. That allows me to sell more cars with less people and still achieve my threshold of customer experience, satisfaction down the line. And I think the tech can make the biggest impact right now just doing that. And then the other side is marketing efficiency. Biggest spend in a dealer, average dealer spends $250 to $750 per car sold in marketing expense, has no idea what and how that works. So anything that's going to reduce that operational spend in that marketing arm is also going to be very impactful for the bottom line. These are those efficiencies that AI brings to us and will bring to us today, that if the competitor doesn't have it and he's selling the same car and he's losing $200 because the AI has made one store selling the average car at $400 now, and that guy's selling his car without AI at $600, that alone is going to hurt stores. If you're selling 100 cars or 200 cars, that's going to add up really fast in profitability. That profitability allows you to reinvest in your AI or more operational efficiency. So that's why I said it's like that whole concept. When you enter the river and start learning, your system grows, and your competitor enters the river, he never catches you, ever. So the biggest thing I've tried to encourage dealers, and Maarten and I spend a lot of time talking with dealers, is like, they're like, next year. I was like, the only time you should be starting is right now. And if you can't start right now, it should have been yesterday. And if you didn't do it yesterday, it should be today. Because waiting, it will cost you. And it's sunk cost. You're not going to catch it. And you can't buy your way out of it, because you still have to train the agents. They still have to understand your business. They still have to go through that process.
Wow, and it's interesting. So I'm over here. I'm thinking about content, and I mean, this is why I started doing the AI takeover thing this year. I'm like, okay, I knew a little bit about what you just said as far as you got to start immediately. You just have to at least start understanding. But the amount of benefit that one needs to try to understand about all this AI and change, it seems like there's a lot here. Gosh, right?
There's definitely a lot. But I think looking back to the late 90s and early 2000s, with the internet becoming ubiquitous for most people, and then with the introduction of smartphones, this is kind of that next step in having tools that enhance our personal cognitive capabilities. How often throughout your day are you having to reference your phone to go ahead and look something up, whether that's something that is on your calendar, your email, or looking for more information on something that someone mentioned? We use these tools now without even thinking about them to enhance our own cognitive capabilities. AI is giving that next level of augmentation to our own capabilities.
Well said.
Wow. That was well said. I just made a note. I'm going to make a couple shorts after this. I've kept you long enough. I really appreciate your time. I do see something, I saw a note from Restream that LinkedIn Live was having an issue today. Don't know if it was hurricane related. I think the live stream broke about 30 minutes ago, but picked back up on LinkedIn. It broke on YouTube, and ultimately I have the master. So for anybody that gets the podcast, they're going to get the whole thing. So I just wanted you to know that straight up, so because this is, I'm thinking it's storm related. This doesn't normally happen, but essentially this was an amazing conversation. I want to be a part of the movement. I'm not volunteering anything crazy because I'm busy too, but I love what we're talking about. So please do let me know how I can help. And in fact, one of my advertisers, Mark, with Superflow Systems, he said, "Hey, connect me to these guys." Mark Grodicke wants to just connect with you. He's a tech guy. He's, you're not starting at zero, and you don't have to, buy him lunch. But I'm gonna connect Mark with you guys, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
awesome.
we'd love to talk to people. And thank
clearly.
you again for having us, Jay.
Yeah, amazing. Todd, Maarten, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.
It's been a
All
pleasure.
right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. All right, I'll put you back in the waiting room. And Maarten, thank you so much. Put you back in the waiting room. And I am ending the show, even though I've got broken streams and whatnot. Technically, I'm still live on LinkedIn. For anybody that not many people tuned in, that's fine. This is I'll just finish it. I realize this. There's going to be another joke coming, and that is that AI is going to eliminate useless content. So for all of the, not all, but because I was wondering how is this going to change? How are we going to go from a cajillion new podcasts every week to not a cajillion new podcasts every week? And I think as we move forward with tech, we're just going to see there's going to be a weeding out. That's what I believe. And as a lifelong media guy, I don't do anything else. Actually, I think next week I'm going to be talking about how you already have a job. I did talk to a company that was very disappointed in somebody that said they could hook them up with a podcast, and that person already had a job, and they couldn't live up to what they said they were going to do. And I'm not surprised. And I see many people starting podcasts. I see companies starting podcasts, and there's just no way you're going to make it to episode 10 on a lot of this stuff. And I don't know, it's a marketing tool, but even, there's a podcast that made a big splash a year ago and, spent money that they're going to be the end all be all, and they've lost momentum too. Guys, it's just not, I know it looks easy. That's cool. But anyways, that's my spiel. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to keep making great content. That's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and figure out how to, as we move into AI or whatever this is, to remain a relevant landscape in automotive. For as long as it means anything and makes sense. That's what I'm going to do. I'm Jay at ATI. Thank you for watching ATI Auto Business, the neutral zone in automotive. I'm gonna roll the car hauler. Here we go. We still have it. Have a good night, everybody. Thursday is vendor flow mobile app messaging communication. That'll be cool. And David Ray Jr. will be on Thursday. Join us. We'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.